This is the Tech Phantom, and welcome to the 5th video of the series. We are making our way to the downloadable content, and as we progress, we are exploring the lore of Dark Souls. So this is going to be a little bit of a recap, and we are actually going to pick up a couple of items that we missed in previous videos. And the reason I've sped up the footage in the first half of the video is because we are going to be retracing our steps. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the Crest of Artorias. And the description at its end says, with such dangers, the crest can do more harm than good in the hands of the uninitiated. So what that means to me is that the crest must be in someone's safekeeping. And we put forth the theory that Andre is not only does he sell the crest, but he is more intimately tied to it because he may have an imprint or a burn of it on his left pec. So I think that that description of the crest reinforces that theory, and that is because it says that it must be kept away from the hands of the uninitiated. So, and it could be that that Andre, as the crest has been passed down through time and finally got to him, that he has forgotten this, and that's why he can freely sell it to anybody, or that we consider us to be part of the initiated, and he trusts us, and therefore he sells us the Crest of Artorias, makes it available to us. Alright, but anyway, I did want to point that out because I did mention it in a previous video, so let me know what you guys think about my crazy Andre of Astora theory. The other thing that I noticed on a previous video that I missed is the crystal lizard here. You guys saw me very comically try to kill the crystal lizard, and I was not able to do it, and it disappeared before I can get the drop. So I've come back to this area, and I'm going to try to reload the game to see if I can force the crystal lizard to respawn. So, so far you can see we've played 2 hours and 14 minutes into this walkthrough, and we're making a decent amount of progress. Alright, so the crystal lizard is not going to respawn, so we need to continue to move forward. So the last thing I want to do in the first part of this video with the footage sped up is to go pick up a couple of items that I missed in the last video. And you guys, if you guys saw the video, you must have been as annoyed and you must have been screaming at the monitor like I was. Those two treasures that were at the end of the bridge there, I missed those. So let's go back and get them. There they are, and I completely missed those when I was sort of distracted by the Black Knight with the greatsword. And by the way, this is it's kind of going to show you that it is pretty easy to pick up those two items if you just avoid the wyvern like I am going to do. You basically run underneath his tail and you go to the sunlight altar. He will fly away and he will have flamed the bridge and he will have killed all the enemies, so the loot will be sitting there waiting for you, and it will be a very, very easy pickup. So we're going to pick up a couple of items. One of them is a soul item, but the other one is a very important item. It's one of my top 3 weapons in the game, and that is a Claymore. And the Claymore has some excellent attributes to it. It has high damage, it's light, it does regular damage and thrust damage, so it can be buffed by a ring that we will find later on. And it can also stun lock opponents, so it's a very good item for PvP as well. So let me show you the stats for the Claymore. It's 16 and 10 requirements, and there's the description that describes it as a highly flexible greatsword that can be used to attack in swings or thrust. Alright, so that is going to conclude the sped up version of the video, and the rest of the footage is going to be in normal speed. And we haven't talked about lore until now, but the rest of the video is going to be pretty lore heavy, and I'm going to put down a couple of plot lines which I will hope to tie up later when we get to Anor Londo and the Painted World of Ariamis. Alright, so if you remember at the beginning of the video, the Crestfallen Warrior told us that we needed to ring 2 bells. One that is up above in the church and one that is down below in Blighttown. So let's see if we can find the bell. We are going to go into what Andre Avastora calls the new church, and we are going to explore, and we are going to hopefully have the opportunity to find the first bell that we were told to seek. Alright, so let's go up these stairs, and there is a Boulder Knight, but he is no match for our Great Sight. And then we're going to come up here, and this is the enemy that we put on notice on an earlier video, if you guys remember. That is a 6-eyed channeler, and he has a trident, and he's doing a dance, and that dance will actually buff him, and it will buff his minions, and he's surrounded by a bunch of undead. And he will actually drop that trident. It's a rare drop, but it can happen. And if you pick it up and you use it in co-op online, you will actually be able to buff your companions when you do the dance, and you do it with the 2-handed strong attack. But the important part is that there was a 6-eyed channeler here, and when we get to Anor Londo and beyond, we will find out where the 6-eyed channelers originated, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out why this channeler was here, what he was doing, what he was guarding. Alright, so let's continue our exploration. And there's another Boulder Knight. And I think this time I'm going to use the 2-handed strong attack of the Great Sight. And that's just the great attack because of the amount of ground it closes very quickly. And that looks like a breakable wall, so let's roll through it, and we come onto this jail cell, and there's an NPC in there, and he's asking us for help and to get him out. So you have a decision to make, and if you decide to get him out, you can use either the mystery key or you can use the master key. So let's talk to him. And he is going to thank us, and he tells us that he is Knight Lautrec of Corinne. We don't know what he did, but he is going to give us or guarantee a reward only later. And here's a little bit of a spoiler, guys. If you go back down to Firelink Shrine and you go down to where Anastasia is, you can find Lautrec. He will give you the reward. But more importantly, he will be available in this area later on to be summoned. And I will show you where his summon sign is going to appear. Alright, so let's keep exploring. We're still looking for the bell. And one thing that I did forget to do is pick up some obscure or secret loot. And that's the reason I'm calling it obscure or secret loot, because a lot of times you either forget to pick it up or it's in a location like this one is, where it's not very obvious. And we can get some humanity from this corpse on a barrel, and so that's actually pretty good loot, since humanity is always appreciated, and we can never have too much humanity. Alright, so let's explore the last wing of the church and go up this ladder. And in this level right here is where you'll find Lautrec's summon sign, but we'll keep going up, and there is another summon sign, and that happens to be the summon sign for Knight Solaire, and he promised us some jolly cooperation earlier on, so let's take him up on it, and let's summon him for this fight. And I am also going to get the charcoal pine resin going, and if you look at Knight Solaire's shield, you see that he's got the sun sort of painted as a symbol of the sun in his shield. Alright, so this is one of my favorite locations for a boss fight. I just think it's really cool to have a boss fight on a rooftop where you have to be careful of rolling off the edges, or being pushed off the edges. And there is what appears to be a bell tower. So we imagine that there is the bell there that we need to ring, and it is guarded by some gargoyle statues that are coming to life. And I want you to pay close attention to the equipment that the gargoyles are using. It looks to be bronze equipment, and they have an axe on their tail, a helmet, a shield, and they also have a very, very long halberd. And you can cut the tail from their, you can cut the axe from their tail. But the other items are rare drops, and if you're really lucky, you will get the halberd. And the halberd, when you read the description, it says that it's just a perfectly standard bronze halberd. There's nothing special about it. And I think that was the developers trying to troll us a little bit, because the Gargoyles halberd is one of the best weapons in the game, definitely in my top 5. And besides being very strong, it will also buff your poison, toxin, and bleed damage. Alright, so we've cut the tail of the first gargoyle, and if you noticed, the second gargoyle popped out after we've done some damage to the first gargoyle, but the second gargoyle already had its tail cut. You can see that he doesn't have a tail. So let's finish the fight, and thanks to Solaire, we've defeated the gargoyles, and Solaire gives us a sunlight medal. Alright, so what in the world is a sunlight medal? Let's take a look at the description for it. It's the badge of the ultimate honor. It represents the sun, and it represents Lord Gwyn's firstborn, who lost his deity status, so he's no longer human, or he's no longer a god, but he's probably just human now, and he is also the old god of war. So there is a lot to absorb in this item description. And the implications are that either Solaire got the sunlight medals from the god of war, who is Lord Gwyn's firstborn, or that he is Lord Gwyn's firstborn, he is the god of war. And I happen to think that that is actually what developers intended. And as a matter of fact, if you guys remember a couple of videos ago, and I'll talk about this as we go up the ladder and we are finally able to ring this bell. But a couple of videos ago I said that the developers had used the model for Lord Gwyn's firstborn and had used it on Andre instead of on whomever was supposed to be the Lord Gwyn's firstborn. And I think that the reason they did that is because if Solaire is indeed Lord Gwyn's firstborn, and if he looks just like Lord Gwyn's firstborn, it would have been too easy to put together. So to me, that fact also sort of reinforces the theory that Solaire is the god of war and is Lord Gwyn's firstborn. Alright, so let's head back down the ladder, and here is another NPC, and he's wearing all black, and he is Oswald of Corinne, the Pardoner. So there are 2 NPCs for Corinne in this area that we've met, and he happens to be a follower of Velka, and he can pardon sin. And you look through the item descriptions here, but Velka is a special goddess, and she has domain over sin. She can keep track of sin. She can, through the indictment books, she can also forgive sin through bishops like Oswald, and she can also punish sin through the through a covenant, the dark blades. So this is another plot line that we're going to explore a little bit later, and hopefully we are going to tie that up when we get to the painted world of Ariamis. And it's important to note too, as that item description of Velka's talisman said, that instead of the talisman scaling on faith, it scales on intelligence, even though it's used to perform miracles. So that is something that I will come back to later on when we continue exploring the lore a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to Firelink Shrine, and let's do a little bit of a recap here, guys. We've done quite a bit in a short amount of time. We've met Lautrec of Carim. We've also met Oswald, the partner of Carim. We fought the Bell Gargoyles, and we defeated them, and we were able to summon Solaire, who gave us a sunlight medal. And based on the description of the sunlight medal, we think that Solaire is actually used to be a deity. He fell out of favor with Lord Gwyn. He is his firstborn. He is the god of war, but he was kicked out of the annals, and he was punished by his father, by Lord Gwyn, for some reason. Alright, so that is the lore that we've discovered so far, guys, and that is going to do it for this video. The rest of the video, I'm just going to work on my build a little bit. So this is the Tech Phantom signing off.